Just as the real-world pros will do this weekend, drivers roar into a familiar sight to duel in one of the biggest events of the year in North Carolina. And a substantial purse is always on the line here, 100 laps, $4,000 to take home the checkers in the series' first visit to the home of NASCAR. Welcome to the 2023 eRacing Association Omega Cup Summer Bowl, live on Podium Esports from the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway in Concord, North Carolina. Glad to have you along for the ride. I'm Devin Henry, alongside Joey Atterbury and Tatiana Noel. Our producer this evening is Ryan Bauer, using cameras provided by Dougie Beard, as we come to such a sight that everyone in the NASCAR community knows oh so well over these many, many years of competition, and of course the upcoming World 600 in the real world. Charlotte Motor Speedway is used to some spectacular finishes, spectacular racing, and not to mention, especially once those tires wear out, you can get some definite different grooves racing here. We have some pros in the contest. We have other drivers as well who are very good inside the sim, because we had 83 drivers qualify, attempt to qualify for the race. 50 of them are in the server tonight. We will cut them down to 40 here to determine our drivers. But Joey, first and foremost, when we come to a track like Charlotte, we talk about cookie cutter intermediates all the time in the world of stock car racing, but all of them have their own special character. What are the characters here that you like to see at Charlotte?
Well, something that's identifiable about Charlotte is the narrow grooves here. Yes, it is a mile and a half. Yes, it is a quad oval. I mean, it's littered throughout the NASCAR schedule, but it really is a narrow racetrack. It's a high-speed mile and a half, and specifically getting into turn one, you got to be careful. It kind of falls off as you enter turn one there, so you got to be on the balance with the race car the whole time. And like you mentioned, we might see multiple grooves as the tires wear out, or we might see that low lane prevail. And how close can you just paint that line down there?
And we are very happy to be joined for the very first time by Tatiana Noel, and you get the opportunity to come into this NASCAR stock car booth. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for being with ERA. But your expectations, what are you thinking that you're going to see tonight that you're going to enjoy out on the track?
I'm hoping to see a whole lot of green flag racing. I know that's not easy at the smaller tracks, but I trust this field. I know they can do it. Show me mostly greens.
And here's what we're going to do. We got to look into the purses, because $4,000 to win, that's a hefty payday. Whenever you put money in front of anybody, the intensity will rise. Now, first through fifth do get paid, but from $4,000 to $500 first to second, $250 for third, $150 for fourth, $100 for fifth. We're paying out $5,000, in total. Over $50,000 has been awarded since eRacer began. This is the 11th race here for the eRacing Association for their season bowls, if you will. But Joey, when you put money like $4,000 in front of an iRacer, or I don't know, I think any real racer wants to go and win a purse, right? So what kind of intensity do you expect tonight for only 100 laps, 150 miles, to take home $4,000?
I think track position is going to be incredibly important. I think the elbows are definitely going to come out. And most importantly, when are we going to start seeing those big movers? You know, there might be some qualifiers a little bit further back in the field that have good race pace. And when do they start moving forward? But like you mentioned it, with $4,000 on the line, I'm expecting no friends to be made out there when the checker flag flies.
And Tatiana, you've been a part of ERA for quite a while. You've been involved in different pieces of what they do. Why come into this stock car world now? I know Jesse Iwuji and Emmett Smith are so involved with everything that goes on with the team and whatnot, but what are kind of your thoughts on coming into this booth for the first time and watching some of this virtual stock car racing?
Well, I will say I got pretty lucky that Jesse's not available. I know this is a three-person booth, so happy to slide into the seat and keep it warm for him, or take it. I'm looking forward to just seeing a whole different kind of racing. The cooperation that's necessary in oval racing is fascinating to me. It's not something that really exists very much in road racing, or at least not to the extent that it does. The different format as far as how yellows are handled, the fact that you get a quick repair on your car, at least one, those are all things that are new to me, and I love the way that it changes the racing from what I've normally seen.
And we will dig even deeper into the components of this race, such as the fast repair, the tire situation, so on and so forth. But when you look at former winners, again, $4,000 to win. It's been that way since our first race back on December 16th, 2020 at the Nashville Fairgrounds. Since then, we've had a number of different winners. Some of them are pros in the eNASCAR iRacing Coca-Cola Series. Others, they're just kind of guys who come out here. They're good in the sim. They practice, they put in their time, and they come out and they compete at the highest level here in ERA. We will talk with Michael Guest here momentarily, our defending winner of the ERA races back in February when he won the Spring Bowl in Daytona. But more than that will be in this race. Almost all of our former winners here in these ERA Omega Cups will be in this race here at Charlotte. But this is very different, Joey, than what we've traditionally seen, because we talk about in the beginning of the show all these different cookie cutter mile and a halves. You look up and down our past schedule. This is the first time we have an intermediate in 11 races.
Yeah, previously Daytona, Talladega, Irwindale, Road America, Daytona. Yeah, you got to go way, way back, years before you even find a mile and a half. So it is new in terms of what the competitors are going to be seeing here tonight. But at the same time, they are very familiar with Charlotte. It is in NASCAR's backyard, literally. You can probably throw a baseball and hit some race trailers from this track.
And this is the home of NASCAR. It doesn't matter whether we are in the real world when we race this weekend during Memorial Day weekend, or whether we also just come into the racing world. So many of these guys have some sort of emphasis in the NASCAR world, whether it be teams, this, that, everything, or just the desire to be in Charlotte and within the world of NASCAR. We teased it a little bit earlier. We will bring in our former $4,000 winner from February. Michael Guest joins us now here on Podium Esports. First and foremost, what did he do with the $4,000?
Oh, that's still in the bank, man.
So when you get to go to a race like Daytona, we have so many different races on the iRacing platform that means so much that time of year in February to go out and win at Daytona. Not all of them pay $4,000 though, and I know that you've been trying your hand at it for a little bit, not just that was your first time or anything. So what was it like going out there, going to Daytona in a big race like that, and taking home that $4,000? What did that mean?
Yeah, that was still crazy. I still can't describe it. That was still the biggest win that I've had on here, in my belief. Just a huge race, and I'm really happy that Jesse and everyone involved in this puts these events on. There's not many like this on the service, so it's definitely a fun thing to be a part of.
You're on a pretty solid list there with Parker Retzlaff, Vicente Salas, Garrett Conrath, Garrett Maines, Bobby Zelensky, Donovan Strauss, all former winners here in ERA. And now we come to Charlotte. We just mentioned this is the first time. This is race number 11 since we began doing the Omega Cups. First time that we are on a mile and a half. What are the keys to tonight's race with even a lot of guys that you typically don't race against? You don't really know that well. What are the keys to land in victory lane here at Charlotte?
Biggest thing is going to be 100% the clean air. It's a very tight setup tonight. It's going to be hard to race for the lead. We're all going to be trying hard to get it early on, because once we get 10, 20 laps into the run, I believe the leaders got it. So it's just going to be all about track position. Got to make sure we keep ourselves up front and anticipate the caution.
Vicente Salas, the only driver to go back-to-back in Omega Cups. That happened on May 12th, 2021 and September 22nd. What would $8,000 in 2 races mean to you?
Double the fun.
Michael, appreciate you, buddy. Best of luck here tonight in our Summer Bowl. We'll see you on the track out here in Charlotte.
All right, thank you.
Michael Guest, our defending Omega Cup winner back in Spring Bowl at Daytona, the big granddaddy of them all. Everyone wants to win at Daytona. It doesn't really matter what the series is, real life, sim world, whatever you got. And then when 4K is on top of that, Joey, you got to enjoy the month of February as a stock car driver.
You're right. Daytona is something special, no matter if you're an oval racer, road racer. It's one of the mega, places of speed in the world. You win there, you're always going to remember it.
And one of my favorite parts about the ERA is the fact that anyone can become a member, race in these races, $4,000 to win. And that means that we have guys who you probably haven't heard of before. We have underdogs out here going toe-to-toe and throwing punches with the big dogs. And this week we want to throw a spotlight on Jason Ravchcock joining us today. And in our notes, we have here that not only do you have that Chase Elliott banner and that championship from a Phoenix not too long ago behind you, but you have over 700 die-casts with you, including virtually every Chase Elliott die-cast along with that, man. But holy cow, how do you keep all those in order?
One massive Google spreadsheet is how I keep track of all those cars.
And now you are not some sort of old soul either, though. You are like a lot of guys in here at a pretty young age, but you've also been playing piano for 2 decades. You play on your church's worship team. Can you kind of take me first into the world of music for you and in your world of worship and how you got into your piano playing for now 2 decades, and also how you got into the world of racing? What made you fall in love with the sport?
Yeah, so the music started by my parents encouraged me to, they wanted me to take learn a musical instrument. So my aunt taught me. I was classically trained for about 8-9 years. Then I'm like, I don't want to practice anymore. I liked the worship stuff. My dad had us join a worship team with my family, so I get to play with my siblings, and I fell in love with the worship and been playing on worship teams for about 12 years now. So that's how I got involved with worship, and it's awesome to use that skill to glorify God on Sundays. And then I got into racing. My mom got me these NASCAR Cup and NASCAR betting when I was really young, and then I went over to a friend's house one day. I saw a race going on in Sonoma in 2008, and I saw the 18. I'm like, hey, that's Bobby Labonte. And they're like, no, that's Kyle Busch. It's from an old video game, so that got me interested to figure out who the updated drivers were, and just followed NASCAR ever since and joined iRacing during the pandemic.
And now here you are with the chance to win $4,000 with this race here at Charlotte. First of all, what does it mean to you to be able to be a part of this group right here and just have that chance at $4,000? And secondly, what's it going to take to go and cash that in?
It's definitely an honor, especially seeing some of the names in here, Garrett Maines, Casey Kerwin, Malik Ray. Just to be in a race with them is always a pleasure. So much you can learn from them. So I'm just going to take this race, kind of learn from them, try to be sort of in the mix at the end. I don't know if I can compete against those guys, but I just want to be there at the end in case something happens. That's all I can ask for.
Well, Jason, glad to have you here. Hopefully you can raise a trophy just like your boy Chase Elliott did a couple years ago in Phoenix. Best of luck tonight. Best luck at that $4,000.
Thank you.
Coming up, we'll take a deeper look into tonight's race and drop the green flag. Thank you for watching the ERA Omega Cup Summer Bowl pre-race show live on Podium Esports.
Do you struggle finding someone to race with, someone to compete with, or flat out, someone just to give the Gap sauce? Well, you should check out the Gap'em app.
Gap'em is the only app that will allow you to race people locally, share videos, and attend events.
And after you race, you can actually take your racing video and post it in the Gap'em postum section so the whole world can see. Not a racer, you can always head to our Gap'em app crew mode section where you and some friends can continue to meet up, go to car meets, go to car events, car shows, anything that has nothing to do with going to the racetrack.
Gap'em is a one-stop shop for the car world.
Looks like I just got a match on the Gap'em app. Time to serve someone some Gapple beans.
Ready, set, Gap'em.
Glad to have you along for the ride in the 2023 Omega Cup Summer Bowl live on Podium Esports, the 11th iRacing event put on by ERA and the first ever at the home of NASCAR at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Devin Henry, Joey Atterbury, Tatiana Noel along with you, Ryan Bauer pushing all the buttons with cameras by Dougie Beard. And Joey, so many people watching already know this track so well, but take us a little bit deeper into what is Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah, we are here in Concord, North Carolina, right next door to Charlotte. 24 degrees banked in the corners, 5 degrees on the straightaways, and something to notice, definitely very, very narrow around this racetrack. Got that quad oval, not the tri-oval, but the quad oval here at Charlotte. Curious to see what lanes of racing, if we're going to get them all the way down on the low lane. And the other thing we haven't mentioned yet is the drafting games and the side drafting that is played here at Charlotte. I'm sure we will see plenty of it.
And we are in these next-gen cars, so we definitely are going to see that. And on top of that, Joey, let's take a look at our race analysis. $4,000 to win, but hey, how about $5,000 in total given out tonight?
It's a whole lot of cash that's going to be given out to these racers in the top 5. But first, everybody's got to complete those 100 laps, also 150 miles known around this place. One fast repair is available in case those drivers do get a little bit of contact, but kind of think of that more as a lifesaver. You don't want to burn that up too early. You want to keep it in the bank there. Everybody is on a fixed setup tonight, so all of the equipment is the same. It's up to the driver to maximize the speed on the racetrack. And then also one thing to note here, 3 green-white checkered attempts if we need them at the end of this thing.
Well, it's time to get these cars out on the track. The home of NASCAR, the home of the World 600 and the real world coming up later on this weekend. It's time to listen, though, to our national anthem performed by Emerlyn Williams.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Emerlyn Williams, for our national anthem. And now for the command to fire engines. Here is former Arizona Cardinal and Dallas Cowboy legend, Emmitt Smith.
Hey everybody, it's your man Emmitt Smith here. Welcome to EPM, or as we like to say, Empower People More, Omega Cup. Y'all ready to get this party started? All right, drivers, let's get ready. Drivers, start your engine.
Hey, Emmitt's got a lot of hardware. He's made a lot of money in his day. These guys now gunning for $4,000. Time to kick things off with our pole setter sitting quick time at a 30.069. Malik Ray will lead the field to green tonight. Alongside him, someone he knows pretty dang well from the Pro Series, Colin Keister. Row number 2, we do not stop the greats here in the world of iRacing. Garrett Maines will be on the inside row. Alongside him, Matt Fusa making up the first 4 spots. Then in 5th, Logan Clampett will be alongside a former winner of the Podium 500 earlier this year, Casey Kerwin, makes up the first 3 rows. Patrick Gitter making up position number 7, Kwame Scott will line up in the 8th position, and rounding out our top 10 in row number 5, Austin J. Madrill and Vicente Salas, your top 10. Here's Joey.
Yeah, and in row 6, 11th position is Alex Thurber with Jason Maines next to him in 12th. Then we have Michael Guest in 13th, who we were just talking to, and Jason Rajcock as well in 14th. Here on row 8, we have Michael Sturgill and Chase Pierce in 16th place. Aaron Raymond and Jason Cameron Jr. making up row 9. And Derek Zimmerman and Raul Alves here in 20th.
Mike Witt will line up in the 21st position alongside him, Derek Fulton, as all the cars come off the front straightaway here in their special way they do at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Daryl Young and Jeff Merritt will make up row number 12. Donovan Strauss lines up next to Luis Vega, 25th and 26th. P27 is going to be Spencer Burns. TJ Allen will be in the 28th position. Albert Groley will be in the 29th spot, and Michael Thorpe Jr. rounds out our first 30 spots.
In 31st, we have Matthew Baker, followed up with James Wagner Jr. in 32nd, Alex Jones 33rd, Cameron McCone here in 34th, Zach Novak, Tony Edwards on row 18, and then we have Howard Struther Jr. in 37th, Bruno Castro Alves in 38th, and Joshua McKinney with Nathan Sellers in the top 40.
Our 40 cars out of 83 who attempted to qualify this week. We had heat races ran, and then we had qualifying just moments ago. These are your 40 drivers fighting for $4,000 here in the Summer Bowl. Joey, your keys to find out who's going to take home that $4,000 and tame the home of NASCAR Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Well, I think it's all going to come down to staying clean out there on the racetrack. I mentioned it is very, very narrow. So it's all about keeping that faster pair. Don't use it. Don't burn it up. And the cleaner your car is, the better off you are. And I would say the other thing, 100 laps, don't make too many enemies too early.
Yeah, only 150 miles. It's almost a sprint race here compared to most that we have at Charlotte Motor Speedway in the real world. So far, we have had 10 Omega Cups here for ERA tonight for the first time. Not only is it 1.5 miles, but it's the home of NASCAR, Charlotte Motor Speedway. Tatiana, your final thoughts. What will we see tonight here in North Carolina?
Oh, I expect to see great things. 2 distinct grooves. Doesn't look like there's room for 3. Like y'all said, it's very narrow out here. I said I wanted to see a whole bunch of green flag racing, but we might see a few yellows. Looking forward to it either way.
And remember, anybody can race here in this Omega Cup, and during our 4 season bowls throughout the year, you can join at eragaming.gg/membership and take part in this $5,000 prize pool that happens 4 times a year here, the ERA Omega Cup. Drivers are prepared. They know this track goes so well. It means so much to the world of stock car racing in the United States of America. And tonight, it's worth $4,000 to win. The iRacing Pace Sedan, ready to make that hard left turn onto pit road and unwind 40 engines at the home of NASCAR for the first time here in ERA. 4K, 100 laps, 150 miles. Who will take home the paycheck tonight for the first time in Charlotte? We are underway for the ERA Omega Cup Summer Bowl. A wicked jump for Malik Ray, but all of a sudden, he's already hounded by Garrett Maines on the rear bumper, Colin Keister behind him. And of course, you want to be patient. You got to keep this car clean, and you do not want to be running 40th. It's going to be hard to pass cars, but Joey, in 100 laps, how patient is too patient?
Well, we're about to find out. I'm impressed. We're about to complete lap number 2 here. Still green, but this field majority side by side later, you know, maybe 20th and further back. The top 20 now single file. So I don't know. I think the pace is pretty rapid right now.
Quite a stout front of the field. Malik Ray leads the way. Garrett Maines behind him. Colin Keister, and then Casey Kerwin. He's made some money already this year on iRacing, especially through that Podium 500 back in February. Michael Guest, we talked about him earlier and talked with him. He's in the 12th position, our most recent Omega Cup victor. And as we look ahead here on Logan Clampett, when you're in the 6th position, boy, Tatiana, it already feels like there's so many cars in front of you and you're only in 6.
I know, it looks, and there's no way to pass. Looks like that first 6 or 7 all in single file, covering both the low line and high line. Why not? There's nobody side next to you. So, passing opportunities will come. I expect them to come and show up, but right now it looks like it's cooperation time.
And everyone's still settling in. Right now, actually, we have almost the entirety of the top 20 side by side, but then all of a sudden we're 3 wide with Donovan Strauss shooting the middle for the 19th position. So you go 1 by 1 for almost 20 spots, and then the Hornet's Nest is right around mid-pack. I think we typically see here at mile and a half. And Jason Ratchcock, you want to see that out the rear view mirror, not the front windshield, but I don't think anyone actually likes to see Donovan Strauss in your rear view mirror, though.
No, but you called it. That is a Hornet's Nest behind Jason Radcock. We were talking with him just before the race here, and he is right behind Jason Maines in the 32, trying to work his way up through the field. Also, looks like Donovan Strauss now going down to the inside of Jason Radcock there in turns 1 and 2. Donovan Strauss actually making an over-under work now down the back straightaway.
Strauss pretty aggressive there, able to get the nose to the inside of the 31 machine, and just like that, he's got around Jason Maines, and you already have Donovan Strauss moved up to the 15th position. Biggest mover so far. He started 25th, and he is not stopping anytime soon, it looks like. And now we're starting to get bunched up towards the front. It looks like that outside lane finally beginning to circumnavigate itself towards the front.
Curious to see. This is, definitely going too wide, and we're going to see drafting battles be played all night long. This is Alex Thurber right now in the 10th position. It's Logan Clampett, Kwame Scott, Austin McGill, all right in front of them. And right now it seems like the low lane is the preferred lane, but the more cars you get teamed up on the outside, you're going to start to carry the momentum.
And that's really what you would like to see for anyone who just wants to make a pass. You want to find that momentum in the outside lane. Vicente Salas right now in that white machine on the outside lane, he's doing that as Thurber was kind of looking on and trying to see exactly what lanes are prevailing here in front of him. Casey Kerwin now making a move to the outside. He's looking for P3 on Colin Keister.
Carrying that top speed around turns 3 and 4, that number 95 making the high lane work. You called it. Casey Kerwin going to be side by side entering turn 1 with Colin Keister, and he's got the help of 3 cars right behind him, the 95 on the charge.
And someone gave a shout out to Garrett Maines in P2 to scoot up the track a little bit, but Malik Ray floated up, slammed the door a little bit. And just like that, Casey Kerwin is reeled in the rear bumper of Garrett Maines, and he's still getting pressure from Vicente Salas. But how about this? The first non-pro in this race, Austin Maggill right now has slid himself into the 5th position.
Impressive, and Austin is actually up 4 positions from where he started back in the 9th, riding on board with him here, taking a look down the inside, see how close it can really get out there.
It didn't even take 8 laps, and already we're starting to see some of these lines begin to take formation. So Tatiana, your opening notes here through the first 10 laps.
I mean, the opening notes is I'm actually surprised that we're not seeing that high line already getting up towards the top. We've seen it work a little bit for some people, but they can't seem to get enough cars in it to really get some energy and momentum going. I do expect it to eventually start being the preferred line, though.
Front starting to spread out just a little bit. Take a look back here again, a Hornet's Nest. That looks like some issues was going on there as Daryl Young slides by. Looked like that was Jason Ratchcock, our spotlight driver of the night, got caught up in something down the back straightaway, and he's plummeted down to 25th. And that's not going to be the last time that I think we see cars either getting together or getting a close save off the wall. Once these tires start to fall off, these cars can really become a different scenario, because as Garrett Maines talked about at the top of the show, or Michael Guest, excuse me, it's a really tight setup, but once you get these tires hot, once they get wear in them, they can really flip around on you setup-wise.
I'm really happy that you brought that up, because we haven't talked about tires very much. And actually, to Tatiana's point about the high lane coming in, it could be saving tires and being up there in that high groove takes up more tire, and that's not what these racers want to do. Traditionally, the lower groove burns up less of the tire, so you're actually saving it more for the end of your stint.
On board with the Sunoco 75 of Zach Novak, right now sitting in that 10th position, battling with Alex Thurber for the final spot inside the top 10. And right now, Matt Buza, he's going the wrong direction. Started 4th, and now he's being pressured for that 7th position as Novak running around the outside here. And you already see, even though it's a fixed setup, it varies per driver how you like, say, a tight setup. And it's really going to evolve over a run. And you're starting to see different drivers who either save tires better or just really like the way that the setup evolves throughout the race a little bit more than other drivers.
Every driver has a different feel of what they want out of their race car, and when you put them on a fixed setup, you're right. Some drivers prefer how it feels. Some drivers aren't going to agree with the car setup underneath you, but the one thing that is constant and even is it's the same for everybody.
I believe that's a Casey Kane door panel there with the number 5 machine. Is currently with the number 5 machine in the race as well. And you can kind of listen in right now to Matthew Baker and the way that they're shifting right now. He's making a move here on the inside lane on Paul Bergotti for the 24th position. And this is something that with this next-gen car, oh, again, a tight racing here off of turn number 4. And we've seen this in the real world. We've seen it in the sim world, learning especially with these fixed setups. What gear do you want to be in to get maximum power while also not burning up those rear tires?
It's funny because we used to just have the 4 gears. You put it in the top gear and that's that. And now you got a few more to choose from. Well, you think, hey, it should be easier, right? You just got more options, but sometimes it can be in between, and you're right. Sometimes you use the gears to actually help the car and the vehicle dynamics of what it needs to do. Do you need more front end bite? Do you need it to be a little bit tighter? And sometimes a taller or shorter gear might help you do that.
Peaking for 3 wide, Kwame Scott was looking to shoot the middle, got a little bit out of shape, and that's going to force the 75 of Zach Novak to back up a little bit. I think Scott actually might got on the wall a little bit too down the back straightaway. But for now, Casey Kerwin, he slithered his way into 3rd, but Vicente Salas has now moved himself into the 2nd position. The only back-to-back winner in Omega Cup history came back in 2021 and started here at the Summer Bowl at Circuit of the Americas, and then also won the Fall Bowl at Bristol a few months later. Right now, he's trying to find a way to pass Malik Ray because everyone right now is pacing themselves off that 7 car.
Yeah, there's been one thing that's been constant out front, and that has been that 7 car of Malik Ray just leading the field. And look at how much it's really picked up, though. 2nd through 10th, it's always been single file, but now we're seeing multiple lines form down this quad oval straightaway, and I think the temperature is starting to rise.
Keister to the inside of Kerwin. Garrett Main just trying to forcefully get himself back into a podium position, but he has a brick wall in front of him. And right now, Casey Kerwin, all race long, he has not been shy when it comes to giving some bumps down the straightaway. Gets a shot in the rear to Vicente Salas as they continue to trail behind that 7 car. And now Main's game back around Keister in that 42 car. He's got that Wendy Goodies bag on there, and he wants to get himself a bag of $4,000 tonight. 19 laps down and only 100 laps in this race. A little bit of a push there out of Keister, but really nothing you can do behind them as they're almost 3 wide in the rear there. And take a look at what has happened here towards the middle of the pack. You're right along with the number 19 machine. We have a breakaway here almost straight down the middle of the pack here. Nathan Sellers on board off the top of his machine, and you have that massive gap there. You never like to see that as a driver because that means those guys in front of you, especially on a long run, they might be gone sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it might be time to call up that crew chief and say, hey, what are our strategy options when it comes to the fuel window, the tires that we got laying on pit wall, and when do you think we might see a yellow out there?
"20 laps down. We're all green so far in this 100-lap event for the Omega Cup Summer Bowl, brought to you by eRacing Association. Joshua McKinney looking on board his machine and inside the physical cockpit as well for the number 51 car. Right now sitting in that 33rd position, and you kind of see a few different guys here scattered around towards the back of the pack, kind of picking your battles. One thing that you do not want to do, though, is go a lap down early.
You can't. If you lose that track position, it's going to be an uphill climb the rest of the night, and that's not what you want to do as a racing driver. You want to be moving forward rather than digging yourself out of a hole.
And Tatiana, as we continue to see some of these cars evolve, how have you seen some of these drivers evolve and using the track? And also, some of them are using each other. We got some bumper-to-bumper action here and there in these next-gen machines.
You love to see it. I absolutely love the bumping and the fact that bumping is part of oval racing. I'm seeing a lot more people sitting on that high line, like you talked about, Joey. You said that as the tires start to wear, maybe people will start moving up there, or they'll stay down low to try to save them. But if everyone's low, then it sounds like opportunities are high. So I think that's what we're seeing now, is people taking advantage of that.
Some of the big movers of the race, we've seen Zach Novak in some compromising positions off and on from 35th to 7th, and he's being attacked right now by another big mover. We already talked about Donovan Strauss from 25th to 8th. Another driver who's making his way through the field, and he is still intact here with this lead group. Spencer Burns started 27th, and now he rides in the 12th position in the white and pink 06 machine. He got around Michael Guess, Austin Maggill, who have kind of been hovering around the top 10, but now Burns seems to have something underneath the hood there to continue moving his trek forward.
Well, and he's part of this front group. You might think, oh, well, 12th place, but no, you look just up the road. He is right here with the leader. So Spencer Burns not even up 15 positions. I don't think he's done quite yet in this 06.
And how about the car in front of him? You see that kind of bumblebee machine up in front. I can't tell if it's a throwback. Oh, one car in the wall here. That's going to be Zach Novak, our biggest mover of the race. He got punted up out of turn number 4 into the outside wall.
Unfortunate for Zach Novak in the 75. He was running up there, had a good race run, and we were riding on board with him not too long ago. And I guess the one good thing is you do have a fast repair, but it seems like the car isn't too banged up as we get a shot of the replay.
I thought he got punted, but watch the car just get out of shape. The blue Sunoco machine trying to keep it off the wall. He almost got the 97 machine, a Matt Busa, before he came back into the wall. And with the toe links on these cars, with the steering on these cars, you really got to be concerned with what kind of damage that might put on this machine here only a quarter of the way through the race.
Yeah, there's going to be a pit stop, and hopefully it's not too much damage, that he can get it fixed there. Or if it's a yellow flag, gives him a little bit of a larger opportunity if there is damage to get that fixed, or just use that fast repair altogether. But Devin, I want to point something out here. This battle between Malik Ray and Vicente Salas has been unbelievable. It has been a total chess game the last 10 laps.
Salas has been massively meticulous here in the past many laps. You see Malik Ray trying to keep him off the bottom lane, trying to fend him away. Salas just continues to run a slightly different line than your leader, Malik Ray, on board here with Casey Kerwin, as he's just kind of watching, because behind him, little bit of a gap to Garrett Maines. Nothing too fancy, but Maines right now is still under attack from Matt Busa. So the top 5 right now, varying spots on the track, but Matt Busa by far is going much higher than anyone else inside the top 10 through 1 and 2, and he might grab a spot through this. Got to the right rear quarter panel of Maines and move the 97 up to 4.
Now, I'm going to get a little technical here. That's how most of these passes are being made. Maybe a high line entry into turn 1, and then you really carry and narrow it down off of turn 2. It provides some tremendous straightaway speed, but that's what Vicente Salas has been trying to do to our leader, Malik Ray. But Malik is just able to carry such a wide arcing line into turn 1. He really fends it off. Like I said, a major chess game between these front 3.
And you see Malik Ray essentially showing his cards down the back straightaway. He's done that for a number of consecutive laps now. And so you got to wonder, if you're Vicente Salas, what kind of notes have you been taking when you see Malik kind of get back up because you want to take a nice wide arc into the corner? Is there a way that he can take advantage of that? Or is Vicente Salas right now just taking care of the tires? Let's try to push Malik into a mistake, or just have him wear his tires down and find a way to pass him a little bit later. Because again, we have 70 laps to go, but only 150 miles. That's not a lot of racing. So again, how patient is too patient? Obviously, Malik Ray has done a great job pacing the field and maintaining the lead. If you can get around Malik Ray, can you then go up front for 30 laps?
I think all of the above, Devin. I think everything that you mentioned you have to do. You have to pressure Malik Ray. You got to show him something different. However, you also have to be taking notes on what he's doing because you never know. There could be a pit stop penalty. He could miss his box. You can make the pass on the racetrack. So every piece of knowledge right now is useful information, but just Malik Ray doing a fantastic job out front.
On board a little bit deeper in the pack, Jeff Merrick, he right now sits in the 26th position with that 60 machine. Right along the inside, got around TJ Allen right now, and now has his sights set on Mike Witt for that 24th position. And again, you see drivers really beginning to spread out on the track. We have these little groups here and there. And this is not a Daytona, this is not Talladega. You don't necessarily want to pit with other cars because that might get a little bit messy on pit road as now Kerwin's forced to the outside here. As the 97 machine of Matt Bouza got the nose to the inside, and again, Casey Kerwin is not afraid to get onto the rear bumper. Vicente Salas gets a shot. He now battles for the lead and has a nose in front of Malik Ray. For the first time tonight, someone's battling for the lead. Salas almost leans on the door of Ray. And coming off of turn number 2, Malik still able to maintain the lead. And now a shot from Kerwin trying to squeeze between him and the wall. Ray gives it to Kerwin, and now it's a shot at the lead here through 3 and 4.
I was really surprised Kerwin squeezed between himself and the wall, and also here comes Matt Bouza trying to get alongside Vicente Salas. This looks like pace laps, 2x2 up front.
Wow.
Malik Ray on the inside, Kerwin on the outside. Bouza and Salas behind them. Off of turn number 2, Kachow put the 95 up front. Casey Kerwin can't quite get rid of the side draft though from Malik Ray, and this is bringing everybody behind them into the mix here with 35 laps in.
Well, this is exactly what Malik Ray didn't want, is the all of a sudden cars to his outside. And look at this, Matt Bouza even showing the nose, potentially trying to take it 3 wide into turn 1. But one thing has stayed constant, Malik Ray is not giving up the lead easy.
And these guys are all comfortable racing against one another as Kerwin slams the door on Malik Ray. Into turn 3, Ray's almost going to get off his bumper. Didn't give him too much. There's a 3 wide behind. I believe that's Logan Clampett in there, Colin Keister, Donovan Strauss, all going 3 wide through turns 3 and 4. Your top 9 drivers right now in this main pack, they are all eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series professionals here on the sim, and they're all going toe-to-toe and blow for blow here on lap 37.
Donovan Strauss making it 3 wide down low that whole lap. Look at him move up the field. We were talking about big movers. I know Zach Novak is on his way back up, but Donovan up 19.
Started 25th. He now gets around the number 42 machine. He's now slid his way into the 6th position. Might get some more here as Maines is trying to give some air support and gets into the wall, trying to push Vicente Salas a little bit. Doesn't lose too much time though as Salas pinches the 97 of Bouza in turn number 2. And how about while all this is happening, Casey Kerwin has now accumulated, I think, the largest lead of the afternoon. He has over a 0.3 of a second gap over Ray.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I'm really impressed that the 95 has been able to pull out such a big gap. And also Malik Ray pulling it out over what is now the battle for 3rd place with, 6 cars fighting over it?
Yeah, you know, we talked to Michael Guest before the show, and he was kind of hovering around the 12th position. Now he's in this mix here for everyone battling from 3rd on to 8th, actually making 9th with Logan Clampett in the mix. So they're 2 by 2, 3 rows deep. You have your battle box on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Bouza in that blue 97, sliding up and almost into the white number 41 of Salas. Strauss on the inside behind them with Maines, followed up by Michael Guest, Colin Keister, and Logan Clampett. They then have a 0.3 of a second gap back to 10th place Patrick Gitter.
I saw a car down on the apron right there, but I think he was just coming off of pit road. Oh, looks like Matt Bouza got loose coming off of turn 2. Had to check up. You see all the cars training right by him.
Big checkup, and just like that, Donovan Strauss said, hey, I got to go, dude. Gave him a little shot and then moved around him, gained a couple of spots, moved the 33, or the 51, excuse me, up to the 5th position. And Tatiana already here on lap number 41. We see vastly different racing than what we saw here in the first 10 laps, which were actually pretty good racing in that time too.
Absolutely, it changed completely. Kerwin and Malik Ray just basically liberated themselves from the pack. Of course, that means the pack can come for them anytime once they start actually working together. That little bobble from, was it Strauss? No, it was Strauss, it was Bouza. The little bobble didn't help, but it's almost a whole different race up front here, which is, oh, it's so exciting.
Kwame Scott has now shuffled his way inside the top 10, and he's also gaining on the rear bumper of Matt Busa, who got shuffled from 3rd all the way back to the 9th position now. As you alluded to, Tatiana, Casey Kerwin and Malik Ray have checked out of Concord, and they're already into Charlotte because the rest of the field is starting to lose the bumper of that number 7 machine. They're now almost a second behind Malik Ray.
And they're 3 wide coming off of turn 4. Donovan Strauss still on that bottom lane, but it's the middle groove. Michael Guest making it work, and he's got a big push in the form of Logan Clamp, and now we're in the wall.
Maines gets into Clampett. They go into the outside wall on our first caution of the night. Also getting into this one, the 21 machine, and just like that, we have our first caution here in Charlotte on lap number 43.
It was brewing for a while there, and we were 3 wide coming off of turn number 4. Donovan Strauss on the bottom, Logan Clampett, I believe, in the middle, and it just all unfolds here in turn 1.
Runs out of real estate. They get into each other, and just like that, oh man, the 21 car, I believe that might have been Kwame Scott. No, I believe that was Patrick Gitter in the 21 car.
I was wondering, it felt like that middle groove didn't really exist, so people were trying to make it work, and it was only going to work for so long, it sounds like. Looks like, rather.
Game of inches.
Yeah.
And that's a tough one, too, because just how the shape of the quad oval is, you're naturally tracking out. You know there's a car out there, and it's just how much room can you give before you get clear, and he wasn't clear enough.
That's right.
One more look at it, and just a little bit of room there, and everything falls apart. Not able to get to it. I believe that was Patrick Gitter in the 21, just an innocent bystander there. Gets stored in 3-car incident on lap number 41, our first caution here of the Omega Cup Summer Bowl, brought to you by ERA, and everyone looking for some fresh Goodyear rubber here down pit road.
Made it almost halfway.
Almost, you're right, but this is an opportunity to come down, put some fuel in the car, get brand new sticker tires out there. We weren't seeing too much of a fall off, but it was about 3/4 of a second, so definitely going to be worth something.
Ready for the race off of pit road. Casey Kerwin came in P1. Can he retain it? Looks like it's going to be Tony Edwards. He might have an issue on pit road that we're only taking 2 tires. And how about behind him? It's Jason Maines, the 2nd car off of pit road. And Malik Ray makes the pass going down the strip on Casey Kerwin to punch that 7 car back in front of the 95, as we saw for the majority of that opening stint, guys.
I think the one that surprises me is Vicente Salas falling all the way to 6th. I didn't see anything unusual on pit road, but I thought he was maybe a few more positions up.
Did I see a couple of people maybe miss their box? It could have just been an illusion. There were a lot of cars there, but it looked like some people just drove through.
Yeah, it looked like Jason Maines and Tony Edwards did not make a stop in their stall. That will punch Malik Ray back out front. When we go back green, he's led the majority of the way here in the ERA Omega Cup Summer Bowl. $4,000 to win here at the home of NASCAR, Charlotte Motor Speedway. Glad to have you here on Podium Esports. We'll step aside, bring it back for the green flag here. Malik Ray leads the way in Charlotte.
Do you struggle finding someone to race with, someone to compete with, or flat out, someone just to give the Gap sauce? Well, you should check out the Gapum app.
Gapum is the only app that will allow you to race people locally, share videos, and attend events.
And after you race, you can actually take your racing video and post it in the Gapum Postum section so the whole world can see. And even if you're not a racer, you can always head to our Gapum app crew mode section where you and some friends can continue to meet up, go to car meets, go to car events, car shows, anything that has nothing to do with going to the racetrack.
Gapum is a one-stop shop for the car world.
Looks like I just got a match on the Gapum app. Time to serve someone some Gapple beans.
Ready, set, Gapum.
83 drivers attempted to make the race. We cut it down to 50, and in qualifying just before the event, we brought it down to 40 drivers fighting for $4,000. Overall, a $5,000 payday inside the top 5 of this ERA Omega Cup Summer Bowl live on Podium Esports. Glad to have you along for the ride. Joey Atterbury on the call alongside me, Devin Henry, and Tatiana Noel. Ryan Bauer behind the scenes using cameras provided by Dougie Beard, and anybody can take part in this event. All you have to do is be a member of ERA, and you can do that and join it with the membership at eragaming.gg/membership at any time. So if you want to join for the next $4,000 to win race, you have some time. In September will be our Fall Bowl at Martinsville, and we will close out the 2023 calendar year at the home of the NASCAR Championship, Phoenix Raceway, in December. Stay tuned for official dates coming up for that, and be sure to sign up to take part in that at eragaming.gg/membership. 41 laps of green flag action, and now almost at exactly the halfway point, we kick off our first restart of the day. Malik Ray will lead them to the green flag after winning the race off of pit road. Casey Kerwin to his outside. Vicente Salas will line up in third with Michael Guest in fourth. Colin Keister, Donovan Strauss, your first 3 roads. Kwame Scott up to P7, Matt Booza 8th. Michael Sturgill 9th, Zach Novak back inside the top 10. Back on the loud pedal, Malik Ray gets a jump way in front of the restart zone. Hey, all the rules aren't the same all the time, and Malik Ray gets on the gas, and he's got the lead.
I think he had a huge jump and brought along the 45 of Michael Guest, but Casey Kerwin trying to hang it around the outside. Now he's going to get help from Vicente Salas, and I would say the car that got lost in that one was Donovan Strauss down low.
Yeah, Strauss falls all the way back to the 6th position, and in fact, I think that jump by Ray actually helped settle out the field. They're almost already single file for about the first 20-25 spots, but for now, Vicente Salas is trying to find a way to get down to that inside lane, but blocking the way is Michael Guest and Colin Keister.
You look at how a lot of the great race car drivers win races or excel above the rest, and it's not always just the lap time, it's excelling in all of the other areas. Pit stop cycles, restarts, and Malik Ray killed it on that restart.
This time by 50 down, 50 to go at the home of NASCAR, Charlotte Motor Speedway. And we were talking during the break the differences in pit stops. Now, it's all based off of essentially an iRacing algorithm to be randomized between everyone, and so you don't get the same pit stop time inside the box compared to everyone else. Look at a Kwame Scott who came off of pit road in the 7th position. He had a 13.9 second pit stop. Michael Sturgill, he's back in 10th now. He had a 15.2 second pit stop. And so that makes it even more necessary to execute on and off a pit road, because you never know what that time in the pit box is going to end up as.
And it's so crucial, because if you overshoot your pit box just even by a few feet, you got to put it in reverse. That is extra time that's just being wasted on pit road. And let me tell you, as a former racing car driver, the easiest passes to make are the ones on pit road where you don't have to make them on the racetrack.
And that's what Malik Ray is saying, because he had the pole coming into the green flag, lost the lead for a few laps to Casey Kerwin, got the lead back on pit road, but as we've seen throughout the night, Tatiana, Casey Kerwin is by no means shy to be aggressive, giving bumps, poking his nose in, and just trying to make passes.
Oh, not at all. Like, it's not even been a quiet race for him. Even when he was racing up front with Malik Ray, it's been bumping, not running, but you know, it's he's been tapping people. I actually had a question for y'all. In general, do you think that everyone's good on fuel? Do you think maybe people strategize for more yellows than we got in that first half? And do you think maybe they changed it for the second half, but maybe they're wrong?
And that's a good question, Joey, because me personally, when I think that maybe cautions are going to breed cautions in a certain race, that tells me I need to use my tires right now. I'm going to get the most out of this set before everyone goes back onto pit road and gets new ones. And so that can definitely change your strategy when you're on track right now. Maybe a guy like Matt Booza trying to use that third lane to make some passes.
I agree with you, and to talk about that a little bit, I think the biggest unknown factor is I don't have the actual fuel window of how far these cars can run on a true green flag stint. Now, we made it almost 40 laps there. We had the yellow flag, so it forced everybody to come in and take those new tires, fill it up with fuel. However, that is still before halfway. I'd be curious, and if you have anybody that's trying to stretch it, Devin, moves like what Matt Busa are doing and using up that tire is exactly what you don't want to do.
And it's all a gamble in that sense, just trying to pick, as you alluded to, Tatiana, just what's going to happen next. If we're going to have cautions, I need to gain some spots now and then gain them on pit road. Otherwise, maybe you need to be more conservative. We had a 41-lap green flag run to open up this race. If it's another 40, you had guys like Casey Kerwin making moves, or more specifically maybe Zach Novak. Remember that guy started 35th, was almost in the top 5, got loose off of turn 4, got on the wall, was outside the top 15. Well, that's Sunoco number 75 is already back into P7.
Well, and to talk more, I just got some more data. So these cars, Tatiana, should be good on fuel. They can run about 70 laps, maybe just over 70 laps on a stint. So I think that they should be good on fuel. And to Devin's point now, it's how much do you use up the tire now? How much do you save it? Or are we going to get another yellow where you're just going to come down and get a whole nother set? So burn it while you got it.
Right.
Malik Ray continues to pace the field here, Tatiana, and we continue to see these guys kind of settle down as well.
Yeah, starting to get into a bit of a rhythm here. Sorry to interrupt you earlier. It does look like everyone's settling in, and maybe we will see another quiet second stint here, because I would have expected coming into this that we'd have more yellows, more cautions. And so to your point, Joey, my strategy would have been to come in and burn those tires up, because I'm thinking I'm going to get a new set anyway.
Well, in pit strategy, like it's an interesting ball game, but the one thing that you can't do is go a lap down. Devin mentioned it earlier that you can't go a lap down, and here we go, full course yellow again on the racetrack.
Second caution of the night, and this time it comes with 41 laps to go. Looks like an issue down the back straightaway, and that's going to be the 18 machine there. Troubles as he comes off the top side here. And just a little tap, a little disagreement on who's where down the back straightaway, it looks like. Tony Edwards and Matthew Baker getting together.
See what happens coming off of the turn 2 here. See Matthew Baker on the low lane, and that's a tough one too. I think that Matthew Baker might have thought that the car up top was going to go all the way up towards the wall, but he doesn't have to go up there. I think just a little bit of miscommunication between those two.
And boy, oh, how about this? We're going to just go straight back. We want fresh rubber here. We've only been on these tires for like 10 laps. I want new ones.
Well, hey,
15 lap stint right there, including the caution.
Devin, you've done enough real-world motorsports. Trust me, if you got an unlimited tire budget,
and they don't
you
cost
might
anything.
as well use them.
Everyone coming down, no strategy here. No pit strategy, right? I want tires.
And I think this is the right call, though, because let's say if you're in the front 5 and you don't come down and the rest of the field comes down and has brand new tires, sure, it might not be that big of a delta difference in terms of the lap time, but trust me, there's the mental aspect of it as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We do have strategy. Vicente Salas and Zach Novak. I believe they took 2 tires here, a sub 10-second pit stop. Jason Maines came out 3rd again past the box. But then it's Malik Ray and Casey Kerwin. They take 4 tires here. So we do have some tire strategy on this pit stop with 40 to go.
I agree, and I think I see maybe Paul Bergoli took 2 tires as well with a 11-second stop, and TJ Elaine back there as well, Chase Pierce. So you're right, throw some new strategy cards on the table.
So that might just shake things up a little bit here as we continue on here with 40 laps to go in our ERA Omega Cup Summer Bowl live on Podium Esports. And this is all coming down to the checkered flag and a chance at $4,000. Michael Guest was the last one to take home that $4K back in February at Daytona. And right now, Michael, you've kind of been around that 10th position. Right now, you're going to come to the restart in the 10th spot as well. You've been around 5th, you've been around 13th, but at the very least, you've been consistent so far, right?
Yeah, luckily the setup didn't get too tight like I thought it was going to, so it helped us race a lot towards the end of that run, and tires actually played a pretty big factor. So I tried to save this last run, but it didn't work out for me. We got that caution, so I'm expecting everybody to just go for broke here. I think everybody's on the train now. We might keep getting cautions, so tire saving might not be the big thing anymore. So we'll see what happens here, especially with these guys that took 2 and stayed out.
And that's one of the things that we talked about here on the most recent run is the fact that we went 41 laps green, and now you always kind of expect cautions to breed caution. So as a driver, how do you kind of anticipate what's coming next? How do you strategize, okay, am I preparing for when we go back green with over 35 laps to go, it's going to be almost that same initial stint we had, or are we thinking, okay, we're going to keep going back in and getting tires? How do you process all that as a driver to go out and attack? Because there's no time to be patient here coming down to almost 35 to go.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to make that decision to lose your track position and fall back. Just knowing how Charlotte is, it's about the most harsh track on the tires, so I decided to take that risk. A lot of people didn't. They went to the front. Honestly, we'll probably see the same thing here. There'll be a couple people that try to save and try to win it at the end, but it's all just a big gamble. You gotta get lucky with what you choose.
And before we let you go, Michael, you've passed some cars that passed you. What are some of the notes that you've taken here through these first 62 laps?
The high side is a very good place to be when it comes to passing. It is hard to pass on the bottom unless you've got some friends pushing you. So I'm expecting, especially once we get towards the end here, for there to be if anything, just a train up high. You don't want to be on the low side, and we'll see how it happens.
Fighting for what would be only the second different driver to go back-to-back in Omega Cups and another fresh $4,000 payday. Michael, best of luck to you here on the restart.
Appreciate it.
Michael Guest made that $4,000 in Daytona, looking for $4,000 more here tonight. That'd be $8,000 in 2 races, and that's all cold hard cash. That's not coupons, that's not certificate, that's not online money. That is cash, as Michael alluded to at the start of the broadcast. That's still in the bank right now, and he's hoping to bank another $4,000 here in the next 38 laps. We'll go green with 37 to go, this time by Vicente Salas and Zach Novak. They go and have some strategy. 2-tire pit stop. Actually, we're going to go one more lap here under caution. But after hearing that from Michael, Joey, I mean, what are your thoughts now on how aggressive, I guess I should ask, how aggressive do you think these guys are going to be in these final 37, 36 laps?
I think you have to go all out no matter what from here. And just to talk about setting the scene of the pit strategy, I'm marking down lap 20. If we have a full course yellow before we get to lap 20 to go, you're going to see drivers come down pit road. I think if we have another yellow around that 20 mark, it's just not enough time to gain those positions back on the racetrack if you come in and get tires after that. So I think with 37 to go, coming to 36 to go, we've still got plenty of racing left.
And so I think that it's fair to say that the 2 most aggressive drivers on the afternoon or on the evening has been Zach Novak and Casey Kerwin. Novak just because, boy, he started 35th. He's kind of went back to mid-pack, and he's been up front for almost the entirety of the race. And we all know Casey Kerwin not afraid to put his bumper in there. So, Tatiana, how do you think that these drivers are going to react to kind of crunch time coming up here and how intense this is going to be for $4,000?
I think those elbows are going to start coming out a lot wider. I think a lot of people have kind of just been conservative up until now. I think the realization that this race is going a whole lot quicker than they thought is going to bring out some real aggression.
So it will be 36 laps to go when we cross the stripe and get back underway. Vicente Salas leads the way. Zach Novak to his outside. Kerwin, Ray, Buza, Strauss, Scott, Keister, Guess, and Alvis. Your top 10 at Charlotte for the ERA Omega Cup SummerBowl, back underway at the home of NASCAR. 36 to go.
Another really good jump for our leader, but this time it's Vicente Salas that gets out front. Malik Ray down low with the 75 of Zach Novak, getting the push from Casey Kerwin, but right now looks like it's going to be Matt Busa that's going to go up and provide some momentum to the top lane.
Salas, like a bottle rocket, takes off, and he has a 3/10 of a second lead fresh out of the gate. Novak has a little bit of a gap, but again, it's the duo that we've seen all night long, Casey Kerwin and Malik Ray, door-to-door for P3.
Malik Ray is in that tough spot. We just heard Michael Guest say it's really difficult to make those passes on the bottom, and you're seeing that happen right now. He's just pinched down. Now we're going to get Colin Keister, I believe, going up and pushing Casey Kerwin by Malik.
What a save by Kwame Scott. He almost hit the inside wall down the back straightaway after contact with, I believe it was Matt Busa. They all stay off of other cars and the wall. We stay green, and they're both still inside the top dozen somehow. Look at this.
You called it. I mean, how that didn't turn into a wreck between Kwame and Busa, I don't know. It was all off a turn two.
Everyone lines back up. I don't know how we're not under caution right now, or at the very least, someone didn't get significant damage. We only have 3 retirements so far in this race with 33 to go this time by. Besides that, all 37 cars remaining on the track are all on the lead lap. Our only DNFs, Bruno Castro-Alves, Patrick Gitter, Derek Zimmerman. Besides that, everybody else on the lead lap, and everyone else with a shot at $4,000. But first, you got to catch Vicente Salas. He's looking mighty fine there with that tire strategy on that last yellow.
Not only Vic, but also Zach Novak. Remember, he was also on that 2-tire strategy. I was curious to see, once they got rolling out here, are those 4 tires of Casey Kerwin, Malik Ray, Donovan Strauss going to pay off? But doesn't look like they're really closing in the gap at all.
Have really yet to talk about Raul Alves in this race. Started 20th and now finds himself inside the top 10 after passing Matt Busa after that excursion down the back straightaway with him and Scott. But for now, Alves, someone who we just really haven't talked about, has an opportunity to put himself in the hat for this $4,000.
And trust me, as long as you're running, and I would say inside the top 15 right now, you got a shot at that $4,000 payday if you collect the chicken dinner tonight. But you got to get there, and trust me, I don't think we're done with those yellow flags yet.
Busa squeezing to the inside as Alves looking like he's qualifying for the Indy 500, almost off the wall there. As Busa continues to move forward after that quick little excursion, and now trying to find his way to the rear bumper of Mainz. They almost get together off of 4.
Close racing there. I think Busa, I don't know if he got loose or maybe just got a touch of the apron, but was able to not get into the car right to his outside of Alves.
And taking a look here off the bumper of Alex, because he's kind of running in that higher lane, and it's not just a lane that you go to pass other cars. It's also a lane that a lot of these guys are just using here to get themselves some momentum, and then diving it off at turn number 4, just trying to find any way to find momentum with 29 laps to go.
Well, we remember when we were speaking with Michael Guest, he just said that the bottom, it's so difficult down there, and traditionally when you run that low lane and there's a car to your outside, you just can't get the exit off of the corner that you need. And when you make a pass, it's usually down the straightaway getting a better exit than your competitor.
Novak has reeled in that looks like a practice machine of Vicente Salas, the bright white here in Charlotte. Now trying to find a way to play some defense, and if you're Novak, you got to take care of things quickly, because you know Casey Kerwin and Malik Ray will not be far behind after and if you complete a pass here for the lead.
You see Novak kind of using that middle lane through turns 1 and 2, providing some momentum down the back straightaway, chasing Vicente Salas. And you got to think, Salas was following Malik Ray for a while. How many notes did he take? How wide of an arc is he going to be going into turn 1 here?
Reels in, gets the rear bumper, comes in a little bit wider, but Salas trying to throw a little bit of air off that front bumper. He entered high as well, and that's going to give him a little bit of a gap here off of turn number 2. Novak again with momentum, though, and Salas protects the inside down the back straight.
Well, and you called it, it's always been diamonding off of the corner, and how you do that is a really wide entry. And what Vicente Salas was doing is he himself is doing that really wide entry, taking away any sort of advantage Novak has behind him.
Again, Novak just reels in that bumper going into the corner, but has nothing to do with it once you kind of get on exit there. Salas just looks so strong off a corner exit right now. Nothing that 75 car can do. Kind of peeks his nose in 3, just doesn't have any room there before that 41 car gets to the bottom. Closest battle on the track right now, got to go back to the 9th position. Matt Buza, Kwame Scott going toe-to-toe. Raul Alves is right behind them, and Maine just made the move on both of them to slide into 8th.
Check out the 31, Raul Alves moving to the top side of the racetrack as we ride on board with them. Matt Buza right in front of him. This momentum's definitely going to help Matt Buza down the straightaway. Kwame Scott now up into 11th.
31 almost gets into the rear bumper there. Buza tight racing through 3 and 4, and again, no time for patience because now it's just 24 laps to go for $4,000. But if he can't get the win, I guarantee you no driver in the field is going, I don't know if I can get the win right now. But if you don't, second place $500, third place $250, fourth place $150, but you still get a Benjamin for finishing inside the top 5 with that 5th position. So by no means, if you're staying in 10, that doesn't mean that you can't go and get a payday tonight.
No, but you're telling me that a racing car driver is going to be satisfied with 5th place? I mean, it's not even about the money at that point.
The guy in 2nd is going to be kicking himself, you know?
That's a $3,500 drop-off.
And I think that brings up your talking point of earlier, Devin, is when do the elbows come out? Because when there's money on the line, things change.
There's a punch right there. Novak really threw it into third, or into the third corner, excuse me, is able to keep on that left rear quarter panel of Salas. They drag race down the quad oval into turn number 1. New leader, Zach Novak out front in Charlotte.
And interesting, here comes the over-under from Vicente Salas. I saw him full on lift going there into turn 1. It's going to put him on the bottom side of the racetrack. He really leaves the 75 out to dry entering turns 3, but Zach Novak hanging tough on the top line. Oh, he's in the wall.
Not the first time tonight. He's recovered from it once, wants to do it again. It gives him a little bit of a nose. Here comes Casey Kerwin in the 95, not far behind. Novak right on his bumper going into the corner and gets out of shape. That's going to open the door for Casey Kerwin.
Yeah, look at the momentum from the 95 down the back straightaway. He's going to take away that 2nd place position. It's just up to Zach if he can hang on tough around the top side. We haven't seen it work as much through 3 and 4 as it does through 1 and 2.
How about a name we haven't seen up front recently? Donovan Strauss making the move right now on Malik Ray for the 4th position, just behind this 3-way battle for the lead. The 51 Duracell machine inching forward.
Oh, we got another yellow flag on the racetrack.
And you see the elation from Donovan Strauss. He likes the position that he's in right now in 4th.
Well, okay, here we go, everybody. This is that magic number. Look at it, 20 to go. Do you come down? Do you take tires right now, or do you stay out?
Joey, that's the exact number that you called out, and we're going to find out is down the front straightaway. I just got the front straightaway wall, and then we have more contact here down the quad oval. That's going to be about a 4 or 5 car incident there down the front straight.
Heavy impacts on some of these cars. Seemed like there was multiple wrecks involved. You see the car get loose on the bottom. That happens, and then further down the straightaway here, looks like some bumpers get tangled up between the 18 and the 26, I believe.
And those are 4 different cars there in 2 different battles, causing 2 separate incidents down the front straightaway, and that's going to lead us into what's going to be a very interesting decision here for some of these drivers, especially if you're Salas and Novak, with only having 2 tires. Man, that's a big lick right there. Going into that newly added inside wall. That is there for the Charlotte Roval as Burns wallops the driver's side wall against that and even gets a little bit of a taste of the pit road wall too.
Well, here we go. Looks like we've got the whole field coming down pit road. I guarantee you we're going to see some 2-tire stops. And you're right. If you're Vicente Salas, you think you got to take 4 at this point.
Novak comes out of the pit box. Who will meet him at the tail end of pit road? It's like 4 tires most of the way around.
2 tires for Salas. 2 tires once again for Vic out front.
So Vicente Salas wins the race off of pit road, off of a 2-tire stop. It looks like most everyone in the top 11 puts on 2 Goodyear rubbers and calls it good. And some extracurriculars going on, not intentional or anything like that, but Colin Keister goes for a little bit of a ride there, coming out of the pit box. I got on the gas there a little hard.
Gotta warm him up.
Yeah, I tell you who's happy, though, is Michael Guest, because that could have been some damage.
Yeah, sometimes iRacing doesn't allow those shadow cars, if you will, down pit road too deep. So occasionally that does end up becoming contact, and thankfully there for Guest, he's able to retain that 6th position.
Well, let's talk about tires, because Vicente Salas is on some really, really old left sides. I thought he was going to have to take 4. Zach Novak was the only other car that previously it took 2. He took 4 this time, so I'm curious how much this 41 is going to hold up out front.
Tatiana, what do you think on that?
2 tires again, that means those insides are definitely starting to get chewed up if they aren't already. It was a gamble, but I understand the need to keep track position, especially with less than 20 to go.
And you talk about Novak taking 4 there, Joey. What did that do for him? He's back in the 12th position after battling for the lead prior to that caution. So we saw just how resilient 2 tires was, and it feels like coming to green with about 15 laps to go, Novak, who started 35th, mind you, he's come out of a hole about twice now in this race, but is this going to be too much here with only 15 laps to go, potentially starting the 6th row?
It's definitely a bigger hole to climb out of, but like you mentioned, it's not something that he hasn't done before, actually a couple times so far this race. So Zach Novak may be back there in 12th, but I think he's got the skill, and he's for sure got the tires underneath him to move forward.
And now for Salas, you talk about how the older tires are on the left side. What does that do for the car in terms of a restart? Well, for one, Joey, it means that one side of your car is going to grab onto that pavement and take off, and the other side is going to want to spin. It creates such a strange balance in the car when you're trying to get to the gas, and it's going to make it even worse when you have Mr. Kachow himself, the aggressive Casey Kerwin, who's going to be hard on that throttle coming to the green on the outside of you.
Absolutely, and when you don't have the confidence to go flat on the gas with those older tires, that means you're going to have to lift slightly. That gives the advantage to your competitor. That's why those older tires, they're so tricky on the restart. But I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate over here, because being the leader on these restarts seems to pay huge dividends.
And I see you guys watching. I see you guys, and I'm sure there's some of you thinking, this is easy. I could do this. $4,000? Well, come join us. Show me. You can join and become a member of the eRacing Association anytime you want at eragaming.gg/membership. If you think that you got what it takes to go and take $4,000 home, come and join us next race, September. Round number 12, the Fall Bowl at Martinsville, and in December, we crown a champion at Phoenix in November in the real world. And then we head here and give away $4,000 to win $5,000 in total in December for our Winter Bowl. Be sure to join at eragaming.gg/membership. Anyone can join and take part in these races. Coming to green, 15 laps to go. Vicente Salas will pace the field. Casey Kerwin alongside of him. They both only took 2 tires. The entire top 11 did. But Salas has older left sides than anyone else in the field. Donovan Strauss inside of row 2 alongside Malik Ray. Then it's Colin Keister and Michael Guest in row number 3. Maines, Busa, Scott, Clampett. The top 10 looking for $4,000. 15 laps to go, and Salas got a great jump off the gun.
A fantastic restart for our leader, Vicente Salas. Casey Kerwin also single file in the second place. It's Donovan Strauss and Malik Ray, the 2 cars side by side. And here comes Colin Keister 3 wide.
A little bit of a slip up there from Strauss and Ray. Keister 3 wide. Michael Guest pushing the issue on the wide outside. That black number 45 for 23.11. Keister coming up the track. He leans on the 7, almost gets into the wall. Keister moves up to 3rd.
Oh, and Strauss got into the wall. He got into a competitor that was then in the wall off of turn 4. And this is exactly what Vicente Salas wants to see with 14 to go, is everybody scrapping it out behind him. He's only got to worry about one car.
Guest in the wall, and Strauss now looking to make the move on the 45 machine as he's trying to slide his way back into 7th. Now looking for Kwame Scott into the 6th position. 3 wide for that spot as Guest and Scott get into each other, and Scott's going to get the worst of it. Novak now on the prowl.
We mentioned Zach Novak, the first car on the 4 tires. Everybody else is on 2, and while it may not be a huge difference, it definitely gives you the confidence. And look at this, the 75 making the low lane work.
And while all of this is going on, Vicente Salas and Casey Kerwin sent a postcard in the mail and said, "See you guys in victory lane." Almost a 3/10 of a second gap between the top 2 and Colin Keister. Is there enough for the 21 and 7 to close back in the next 12 laps?
We're going to see. I think it is, because I'm seeing Colin Keister being one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, and it's really going to turn into the chess game now. How does Vicente Salas keep Casey Kerwin behind him?
You got those older left sides, and Joey, how do you think that affects the car here on these longer runs? Obviously, it didn't bother him too much on the restart, but now racing-wise, balance-wise, how's that going to change what this 41 car does?
Well, they just turned the fastest lap of the race. Vicente Salas, 30.062. That is his fastest purple on the racetrack. So I don't know. If you ask me, they look pretty fast right now.
The last lap was the fastest lap of the race for everyone inside the top 5 except that car, Casey Kerwin, who was 5/1000th of a second off his fastest time. So these tires right now are being utilized to their fullest potential, Tatiana.
Yeah, absolutely. That's crazy that they're doing their fastest laps now. 10 to go. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. Never mind.
Hey, all Colin Keister needs to know is that he's door to door with Casey Kerwin. The 42 car is trying to slither his way up into 2nd.
Casey was trying to take a wide line to capitalize on a move for Vic, and I tell you what, Colin Keister said, you know what, I'm going to go up, I'm going to go ahead side draft in 1 and 2, and now battling side by side again going into turns 1.
Malik Ray hates seeing that blue and red brick wall in front of him. He has to find a way around these two, because right now, Salas might as well grab some popcorn out. The lead is now ballooned to half a second for Vicente Salas in this battle between Kerwin and Keister, and the 42 could not make enough headway to get around Kerwin.
And I think Keister actually thought better of what just happened. He tucked back in behind Casey Kerwin. He realized that, hey, if we stick here too wide, whoa, we got problems on the front straightaway here, don't we?
Second pack, they are racing for a thank you for coming award. Oh, the 70 gets into the 18. He's in the wall, and they're going to pile him up down the back straightaway. Caution flag is out with 8 laps to go in our race for $4,000 at Charlotte.
I didn't say it. I said I wasn't going to say it, and I didn't say it. This was not my fault.
Tony Edwards makes some contact here going down the back straightaway. But it all started here, Joey, where you were alluding to, when they're banging off of each other. And it's just not very helpful as we come down to the back straightaway. And unfortunately for our spotlight driver of the night, I believe as well, Jason Ratchcock gets involved late.
It's another one of those moves we saw, coming out of the quad oval. Everybody's just naturally letting the car drift up to the right side of the racetrack, and you run out of room very, very quickly. You go 2 wide, 3 wide, you run out of room even quicker.
One last look here off the top, but Joshua McKinney is able to slide by to the inside, not so fast. It happens just that quick sometimes.
Well, there's one benefit. Well, I shouldn't say benefit. It's terrible, but they do have a fast repair available to them. It doesn't look like anybody lost a lap from that one.
And I'm pretty sure he was aware it was very likely to happen, but I very much doubt that he was hoping it would happen because of the restart coming up. Vicente Salas launched beautifully on that last restart for having the oldest left side tires in the field. but now you got to do it again.
It's been pretty consistent, though. The low lane has been able to get a good jump on these restarts. So if I'm Salas out front, I'm not necessarily too worried about the initial launch. What I am worried about is you had just built up a nice gap, and second and third place were scrapping amongst themselves. Whole different ball game now.
While we have a moment, let's highlight some drivers who are putting together a great run right now. Go back to 16th position, and Alex Jones started this race in the 33rd spot, only 7 spots in qualifying to make the show. Remember, 50 drivers qualified, only 40 made it. He started towards the back, and right now Alex Jones running inside in the 16th position, I should say, and directly in front of him is the guy who started directly in front of him. James Wagner Jr. started 32nd. He now has himself inside the top 15. Also hasn't been a shabby day for Jeff Merck, the driver in 14th position. He started 24th, and he's been able to make his way up the field and through some of the chaos. And Paul Brigolgi, we talked about him a little bit. He's in 12th right now, and he started 29th, and he's putting together a great run for himself as well. So just a few of the drivers who have made their way through the field, and I would be remiss to not mention Cameron McHolm, even though kind of borderline inside that top 20, did start 34, so another one of those drivers who was just on the verge of making it in tonight and trying to make something out of it.
Well, and I mean, we have 5 laps to go. I know we're under yellow here, but I'm looking through timing and scoring, and I'm seeing, I believe it's 32, maybe 33 cars still on the lead lap. That's amazing.
Yeah, I have 32 cars on the lead lap after that last incident, and besides that, just about all the drivers who were not on the lead lap have put it behind the wall. Looks like drivers who at the very least are on pit road at this point or have called it a night. Derek Fulton, Tony Edwards, TJ Allen, Bruno Castro Alves, Patrick Gitter, and Derek Zimmerman all out of the race. Nathan Sellers and Matthew Baker are still in the race, but multiple laps down. And unfortunately, we talked a lot about him. Kwame Scott, he's been inside the top 10 for a lot of the race. I think he was involved in that last incident. He's back in the 31st position.
Well, you know, in order to have big movers, unfortunately, drivers have to fall, and Kwame Scott was having a very, very good day. Yeah, he's down here in 31st now, but don't stop swimming yet. Anything is still possible in racing.
Yeah, definitely anything is still possible. And as we get closer and closer to go back green, obviously, Tatiana, when there's not many laps left, we've already seen the intensity boil over a little bit with just how aggressive these guys are racing. But now when you have $4,000 in front of you and you say, hey, you got 3 laps for $4,000, I mean, that is when the desperation comes out from everyone from first to, what did we say, 32nd? So yeah, all of them.
Absolutely. These drivers don't see nothing but green, money green. And if there's a big one again, then it gives people even down in 32nd a chance to get up and get into some that prize pool.
We talk about guys seeing red. These guys are all seeing green, no matter how far in the back of the field you are. I want to bring home some money tonight.
Well, you know, you got to pay the bills somehow, huh?
This is a good way to do it, right? Glad to have you along for the ride live on Podium Esports for the ERA Omega Cup Summer Bowl here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the home of NASCAR in the real world, and the World 600 coming up this weekend live at this magnificent palace in North Carolina, the home of NASCAR racing. But for now, we hand out $4,000 for the winner and another $1,000 from second to fifth. It will be Vicente Salas again bringing the field to the green flag. Casey Kerwin to his outside. Colin Keister has navigated his way to third. Outside of him will be Malik Ray. Then it's Garrett Maines on the inside of row number 3. Next to him is Michael Guest, our defending winner from Daytona in February. Strauss, Novak, Busa, Clampett, your top 10. They lean on each other to the restart zone. Off the blocks, it's Vicente Salas. 3 laps to go, $4,000 on the line.
As usual, our leader gets a good jump, and we already have a yellow flag, a problem on the restart.
It looked like we were going to be okay. One car began to slide into the grass, but after that, Joey, a few different cars get into the outside wall, and the caution comes out as almost half the field bobbing and weaving to avoid this one.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I wasn't expecting to see that. Usually on a restart, it comes a little bit further in the back. Cars trying to make a jump on the restart, but take a look here. The number 23, I believe, tries to go to the inside. Well, a car just comes down. I think that was the number 60 that tried to change lanes and block that inside run.
Not really what anyone up front was looking for there. They didn't need a reset. And this will officially put us into our first of 3 possible overtimes for the ERA Omega Cup Summer Bowl. We're going to take a break, let everyone catch their breath. The conclusion of who will take home $4,000 up next here on Podium Esports.
Do you struggle finding someone to race with, someone to compete with, or flat out someone just to give the Gap sauce? Well, you should check out the Gapum app.
Gapum is the only app that will allow you to race people locally, share videos, and attend events.
And after you race, you can actually take your racing video and post it in the Gapum Postum section so the whole world can see. And even if you're not a racer, you can always head to our Gapum app crew mode section where you and some friends can continue to meet up, go to car meets, go to car events, car shows, anything that has nothing to do with going to the racetrack.
Gapum is a one-stop shop for the car world.
Looks like I just got a match on the Gapum app. Time to serve someone some Gapple beans.
Ready, set, Gapum.
A pleasure to have you along for the ride here live on Podium Esports as we give out $4,000 to the winner of the ERA Omega Cup Summer Bowl here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. First of allowed 3 green-white checkered finish attempts. Joey, who do you got your eye on right now for this finish?
Well, I'm really looking at that outside lane. Casey Kerwin has Malik Ray lined up behind him on the restart, and we've seen that top lane really be able to carry the momentum, specifically down the back straightaway. If those two cars stay teamed up, I wouldn't be surprised to see them push their way by our leader.
And Vicente Salas, with the oldest left side tires in the field, has been exquisite so far in his restarts. But Tatiana, another name that we're looking at, Zach Novak is now up to 7th.
That's right. Like we talked about in the break, Zach Novak is in the game. If he's up there in 7th place, then he is absolutely in the running for first place. We've seen him come back after slamming into the wall and watching half the field pass him and go into a fight for first. So he's still in it as we try for our, was his first of 3 green-white checkered attempts?
Yes, first of 3 green-white checkered attempts here at Charlotte Motor Speedway for the ERA Omega Cup Summer Bowl. And how about another name, but behind those guys in the outside lane who we are really thinking might be a little aggressive here, Kerwin and Ray. Then you have Michael Guest, who might have been the best passer in the far outside lane all day today. But the big story, $4,000 to win. If you finish second, you get $3,500 less. Even if it's by 1/10 of a second, that 1/10 is $3,500 gone. Salas will bring us to green. He leans on Casey Kerwin. Remember Colin Keister, he's in third. Malik Ray in fourth. Maines, Guest, Novak, Clampett, Buza, Strauss, Alvis. Back to the green, first of three green-white checkered attempts, and again Vicente Salas gets on the loud pedal. A good jump.
Yeah, good jump from our leader, and Michael Guest already pushing Malik Ray, who's on the bumper of Casey Kerwin. Can the run come from the top side? Vicente Salas is loving what he's seeing in his mirror right now.
Kerwin has to get free of the 42 machine. Colin Keister side drafting on the back straightaway. That biggie bag looking for a big bag here tonight. He sits in third though, and right now that bright white car, Vicente Salas, almost a half-second gap. White flag, this race is official with this next lap.
Casey Kerwin finally gets clear for second place. Now it's Malik Ray and Colin Keister side by side in turns one, but it's all about Vicente Salas. He's running away down the back straightaway.
They're still door to door. Casey Kerwin made the pass, but just doesn't have enough to get to that 55 machine of Vicente Salas. He's the only driver to go back-to-back in Omega Cup races, and now he's the winningest driver in ERA history. Vicente Salas wins the SummerBowl at Charlotte.
And they're wrecking behind him. Novak into the wall, but Salas hangs on to win it.
A third win for Salas, huh?
More than anyone else in ERA history, he gets the congratulation bumps from Casey Kerwin. And we're going to wait for this to all get officialized out to determine who our top five is here, all taking home money in our 2023 SummerBowl here at Charlotte. But Vicente Salas does an exquisite job in these final restarts with the oldest left side tires in the field, finds a way to get the jump on the restarts, break away, and take home a cool 4K tonight here at Charlotte.
Oh yeah, watch him get in a nice slow burn out there. Really lean into those tires. You earned it.
It wasn't until the two tire stop that got the 55 car up front, and he takes advantage and takes it to victory lane. When we come back, our unofficial finishing order tonight from Charlotte Motor Speedway, and we will chat with your top three finishing drivers taking home some cash tonight in the Omega Cup SummerBowl. You're watching live on Podium Esports.
you struggle finding someone to race with, someone to compete with, or flat out, someone just to give the Gap sauce? Well, you should check out the Gapum app.
Gapum is the only app that will allow you to race people locally, share videos, and attend events.
And after you race, you can actually take your racing video and post it in the Gapum Postum section so the whole world can see. And even if you're not a racer, you can always head to our Gapum app crew mode section where you and some friends can continue to meet up, go to car meets, go to car events, car shows, anything that has nothing to do with going to the racetrack.
Gapum is a one-stop shop for the car world.
Looks like I just got a match on the Gapum app. Time to serve someone some Gapple beans.
Ready, set, Gapum.
In our 11th race in ERA Omega Cup history, Vicente Salas at the home of NASCAR becomes the winningest driver all time in eRacing Association history. He takes home a cool hard $4,000 with his victory in some late race heroics. Right off the blocks perfectly every single time. Vicente Salas, your winner here at Charlotte. Casey Kerwin, boy, did he put on a show as he always does. Not going to get it done, though, for the 4K. He will take home $500, though. Malik Ray behind him. He finishes in third for a cold $250. Colin Keister, he was there for a very long time. He battled for a lot of the race. Up front, really. $150 for Colin Keister. And rounding out your top five in money positions, Logan Clampett will take home a Benjamin $100 for his fifth place position here. Michael Guest will have to be the first guy without any money coming into the bank. He comes home in sixth. Garrett Maines, a multi-time winner, but now behind Salas. He comes home in seventh. Donovan Strauss comes home in eighth. Chase Pierce, how about the run for the 48 car? He brings it home in ninth. Raul Alves, he hovered around there for a lot of the second half of the race. He will pocket a top 10 here in the Summer Bowl.
Here in 11th, we have Matt Busso, who actually had a very good run going on earlier in the race. Aaron Raymond in 12th. Going to bring up also Alex Jones here in 13th. Alex was our biggest mover throughout the night, up 20 positions from starting way back in 33rd, that number 045 car. Paul Bergoli, 14th. Luis Vega in 15th. Jason Cameron Jr. finishes 16th. Alex Thurber, 17th. Zach Novak, who we were highlighting so much today, unfortunately found himself in the wall off of turn 4, the 18th place, not representative of the speed that he had. Michael Thorpe Jr., 19th, and Daryl Young rounding out your top 20.
Yeah, here in this group, like you mentioned, Joey, some guys who got caught up in some wrecks on that final lap. Mike Whidden, 21st. Cameron McCone comes home in 22nd. Austin Magil, he comes home in 23rd. Spencer Burns, he had that massive look to the inside wall. He comes home in 24th. Kwame Scott had a great run. He has to sell for 25th. P26 goes to James Wagner Jr. Michael Sturgill in 27th. 28th is Howard Strother Jr. And our spotlight driver of the night, the 700-time diecast owner, 20-year pianist, virtuoso, Jason Ratchcock comes home in 29th. Jason Maines rounds out your top 30, Joey.
Yeah, Joshua McKinney, their second car, one lap down. Nathan Sellers there in 33rd. 33rd. And then Jeff Merck after that. Also have another Sellers there, Edwards, Baker, Elaine, Castro Alves. And then all of these cars did not able to finish. They had multiple problems, as you see, several laps down.
Your 40 cars here out of the 83 who attempt to qualify, but let's bring in now the winningest driver in ERA Omega Cup history. Vicente Salas, for the third time in his career, is taking home $4,000. Before we even get to the money, Vicente, I got to ask about number one, the pit stop strategy, the call to do two tires. You and Novak did it on your own and it worked the rest of the race. But then on top of that, I know the left sides aren't the most important things on these cars, but the fact that you perfected every single restart afterwards. First of all, the thoughts on going two tires and then the execution to make it work time after time again to take home the win.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a crazy race. First off, thank you guys for putting it on. Huge shout out to Miramar Financial, everybody at Williams Esports, my mom, my dad, Carroll Speed Shop, everybody that supports me. I knew as soon as this race began with the dirty air how important clean air was. I mean, you saw Malik out there, and once we got to him, it was like a Sunday ride for him. He could just arrow chop us and control the race. So, once I kind of figured that out, I knew whatever the first chance we got, where those left sides would be within range, that we had to take two. So we took two, fought for the lead super hard. The caution came out at the right time for us, and we held the lead once that second pit stop happened, and it was kind of just game on from there. So I mean, I can't thank Casey and all the guys for racing me clean, and I'm super happy to bring home another win.
And 100 laps at an intermediate, I mean, it's almost a sprint race. We talked earlier, there's no time to be patient. You got to make the moves when you can. So time after time again, making that pit stop strategy, making all the right moves on the restart, how vital was it to have a sense of urgency with that patience in such a short race?
Absolutely. This race was super, super passive aggressive. You had to know when to sit back, bide your time, and watch the guys in front of you battle it out. Then you also had to know when to make the moves yourself. So, I mean, we started kind of mired back 10th. I think we started 10th or 11th. So early on, I wanted to pick spots off, and we made it to the top 5 really quickly. We were running third at the end when that caution came out. So definitely important to gain that track position. And I mean, I can't thank my guys in Discord enough, Ashton, Dave, Jeremiah, for helping me with the calls in that race. I mean, it was awesome to have a team around me. It was really cool calling the strategy, and we had a great time.
May 12th, 2021, you become the third different winner in series history at Circuit of the Americas. September 22nd, 2021, at Bristol, you become the first ever repeat winner in the series. Today, you become the first 3-time winner and have earned $12,000 off of P1 alone. What has this series and what has that payday meant to you?
I mean, it's meant a ton. I can't thank Jesse Awuji, Matt Casso, and everyone enough that puts this on. I think it gives us guys that race online a great platform to really duke it out for some good payout. If there's anybody else new out there that wants a chance, there's heat races. They're super competitive. I think it's top 5, top 6 advance. And I mean, I think there was like 8 of them or something like that. So there's a ton of people that advance to this race. If you want your own chance to come win some money, don't hesitate to sign up, because the next one is sure to be a barn burner.
And that next one is coming up in September. We go to the half mile of Martinsville. Nothing like the former half mile that you won on over at Bristol. And we will end the year in December at Phoenix, the 1 mile home of the NASCAR championship. In the real world, your thoughts on these next 2 short tracks and short-ish track, if you will, coming up on the ERA schedule?
Oh, I'm super pumped. Phoenix has always been a fantastic track for us. We ran super good there in the eNASCAR Contender Series in the Xfinity car. We actually won there in 2022. So we've got a little bit of momentum spooling there. I think if we can just keep that going, really be on top of the strategy like we were today, there's no reason why we can't be up front and battling for the win again.
$12,000. At least maybe we'll just talk about this $4,000.
Oh,
Michael
yeah.
Guest said that that his last one went in the bank. What have you been doing with yours?
I don't know what I'm gonna do. We've been doing a little bit of late model racing, racing every other week at Hickory. We're gonna be traveling around a little bit, so maybe we'll put it into the late model, getting a seat, something like that. But I mean, it'll definitely go to something racing related.
Well, congratulations. You've been fantastic in this series. Congratulations on another $4,000 in the win here at Charlotte, Vicente.
Thank you so much, and all glory to God.
Vicente Salas, the 3-time ERA Omega Cup winner. Now let's go ahead and chat with the guy who he put on a show all night long. He had some aggressiveness. He poked the nose in there, but just couldn't quite get it done on those green and white checkers. Joey's caught up with Casey Kerwin.
Casey, first of all, congratulations on the second place tonight here at Charlotte.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, it was a crazy race. It was fun. Thought we had a good shot at it. Just it kind of came down to a bit of choice of strategy, and we just weren't quite on the right one, but still a good result nonetheless.
Well, talk to me a little bit about the strategy, the 4 tires versus 2 tires that put Vic out front there. Were you thinking about that at all? Were you worried about any of the cars maybe a little bit further back leapfrogging you at that point?
Yeah, I was. I mean, it's tough when you're the leader, right? Like I knew some guys were going to take 2. I debated taking 2. I just felt that if it did go green the whole 40 laps, I don't know if you would have won. And it's tough to like be the leader, be the only one that takes 2, and then you lose the race because of it. So it's kind of hard to make that call. But yeah, I thought if it stayed green, it was right when the yellow came out with like 20 to go, was kind of right as we were getting the advantage to have a shot at Vicente. And then of course he was able to take 2 again and just came down to short run speed. So yeah, it was a tough call. It could have gone either way. Obviously, it's kind of just a 50-50 shot. And yeah, we went for 4, and like I said, it was right as we kind of got to him there. After we got by Zach was when the caution came out, which is unfortunate. But yeah, again, just it was a fun race, and thought it was pretty racy and pretty entertaining from my standpoint. So hope everyone else enjoyed watching. And yeah, can't be too mad with second.
Talking about the racing that happened on the track, because you're right, you were right there in pretty much the catbird seat the entire time, you know, second, third place. How bad was the dirty air? What did you need to do to maybe get up there in single file to challenge for the lead? Was there something missing on the racetrack, or what did you need?
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I think I just needed the pace to slow down. I think honestly, it got really racy after about lap 15 to 20 on the first run. Once the pace kind of slowed down, the dirty air wasn't as killer because you weren't going as fast through the corner. And yeah, once it just kind of came down to short runs, it's just full send. And there was a lot of draft. I think it could have helped. It's tough for the guys behind to get sorted out because you're just trying to fight and keep as much track position as possible. And I think the first run when I was behind Vicente on 2, no one was really formed up behind me to kind of help me with some momentum down the straightaways to have a shot at him. So I would just kind of get a run on him and get within that bubble of about a foot to 2 foot behind him, and just then my run would stall. If I had another car behind me, I could have built a little bit more momentum to have a shot at him. But like I said, it's just how it played out. I don't think there was really anything else I could have done besides just take 2 tires earlier and keep the lead. But like I said, yeah, it's still a good result, so can't be mad.
Like you said, still a good result. $500 in the bank going to you. And before I let you go, is there anybody you want to say hi to or thank?
Yeah, just thanks to XSET and for all they do in the Coke stuff, and also, you know, repping the brand here as well. And thanks to everyone in my Twitch channel that was watching today. I did the full Coke 600 before this race, so I had about a 30-minute break before we did this again, and yeah, had a bunch of support. So it was yeah, fun race and enjoyed and got to share with a bunch of people. So yeah, thanks to all of them.
Well, I think Casey Kerwin has done enough laps at Charlotte for tonight. He finishes second tonight, in official $500 richer for him.
And our final driver on the podium tonight, Tatiana Noel, is with Malik Ray.
Hey Malik, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. So third place, but you had a really good first stint running up front for a while there. What was your strategy for keeping everybody back? Because you managed to do it for a while, and how did Kerwin break that? I think it was him that passed you first.
So I was just trying to run at my own pace at first, and then I think Vicente got trapped underneath me trying to pass Casey, or like he was trying to pass me and he got trapped underneath me, and then I went low down the back straightaway to try and give him draft, and then like when I did that, it gave Casey my outside, and then he was able to get by, and then after that I was just sitting in line behind him.
Got it. I think you got back up front after that first set of pit stops around lap 40, correct? Did you take 2 tires or 4 then?
No, I took 4, and I think in hindsight I should have took 2 because it would have put me in the lead, but oh well.
Maybe. I mean, hindsight's always 20/20, right? But you did pretty well. I don't think you ever fell below the top 5. And that seems super important because we had a lot of incidents start towards the front of the field that caused the caution. Did you see anything happen in your rearview mirror and kind of wipe the sweat off your brow, like, whoo, just barely made it through?
Yeah, there was like a lot of cars, and they was like jockeying for position down the back straightaways and stuff. And I was just trying to like stay like in the top 5, so that way like I didn't have to deal with any of that stuff, and it worked for me. So I'm very happy about that.
It absolutely did. You obviously have pace out there on this track. I was hoping to see you back up front at some point. Can you describe what it's like being behind 2 or more drivers? It seems like Dirty Air was really a big deal at this track. Were you struggling at all with that? Can you tell me more about it?
I didn't necessarily struggle with it because I've done so many races this week. I kind of know like how to I guess like how to handle it. All you gotta do is just try to put your left front out and just try to like keep it on the bottom. And if you can do that, then it's not nearly as bad versus like if you're trying to run the outside or the middle or something like that.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Well, thank you for putting on a great race and a great show for us. Is there anybody that you want to shout out and say thank you to?
All you guys for broadcasting, and Jesse for making the league, and that's it. And that's it. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Malik.
Thank you.
Malik Ray rounds out our top 3 here tonight. A big thank you to Menderlin Williams for our national anthem tonight, and Emmett Smith making his appearance with our command to fire engines. And that's how the race started, and it ends in a couple of green-white checkered finishes. That brings us to Vicente Salas, now a 3-time winner. Let me turn my light on. There we go. In Omega Cup history. Hi, I'm here actually. But guys, your final thoughts here from Charlotte. Our first ever intermediate in a race that means so much to the community, being at the home of NASCAR. Your takeaways from this 11th Omega Cup race.
Well, first of all, I love the racing that we saw. We saw tremendous green flag runs. It was not yellow filled, so the action that we saw on the racetrack was great. From Malik Ray starting out front, being able to control the pace to the different runs, and then the different strategies that ultimately put our winner Vicente Salas out front.
Tatiana?
Agreed. Those green flag runs, those massive green flag runs were amazing. It felt almost like I was watching an endurance race where you could watch the race change and evolve without too much interruption. It was fantastic.
And you at home, you can join the series as well. All of you guys with an iRacing account, you can go and visit eragaming.gg/membership. Join today and take part in our next race coming up in September. Follow along for the official date when we hit the Fall Bowl at Martinsville, and another race after that to close out the calendar year, the Winter Bowl at Phoenix Raceway. A big thank you to Matt Casco and Kevin Johnson and Sean Yoder at the eRacing Association. For all those working behind the scenes at Podium Esports, Ryan Bauer, Gary Sexton, and John Theodore, along with Brandon Davis and Michael Hall and Race Control, and our team tonight with Dougie, Ryan, Tatiana, and Joey, I'm Devin Henry. Thank you so much for watching tonight's broadcast of the ERA Omega Cup Summer Bowl. Congratulations, Vicente Salas, now a 3-time winner and your 2023 ERA Summer Bowl champion.
Do you struggle finding someone to race with, someone to compete with, or flat out, someone just to give the Gap sauce? Well, you should check out the Gapum app.
Gapum is the only app that will allow you to race people locally, share videos, and attend events.
And after you race, you can actually take your racing video and post it in the Gapum Postum section so the whole world can see. And even if you're not a racer, you can always head to our Gapum app crew mode section where you and some friends can continue to meet up, go to car meets, go to car events, car shows, anything that has nothing to do with going to the racetrack.
Gapum is a one-stop shop for the car world.
Looks like I just got a match on the Gapum app. Time to serve someone some Gapple beans.
Ready, set, Gapum.